I'm kind of pissed at myself, and I'm kind of pissed at some people here. A real life story on how to master marketing. Join us on the journey.
Well, we figured out we wanted to do a webinar to sell virtual tickets to Social Media Marketing World. And once we decided that we were actually going to do a webinar, we had to decide, okay, what's our topic?
We're trying to build out the whole outline that will become the presentation. We need to reach out to some of our speakers. 3 tips from each of them.
Yeah.
And a teaser about what they're going to learn more about.
3 tips and a teaser.
Yeah, 3 tips and a teaser.
Roger, the plumber, I met at a conference, and he was just so amped about how Social Media Marketing World changed his whole trajectory of his business.
By starting a whole YouTube channel for plumbers. So maybe that would be a good place to tell it, is in the webinar.
Transition to Kim talking about the webinar outline.
Once all that data was gathered, it was time to start writing out basically a bullet point for each slide, and there's probably 90 slides, so it's kind of a big undertaking.
Thanks so much for doing the webinars with us again. We just thought it would be really good to kind of put the plan together. So Kim was pretty much put the outline together. So
and it's great. I love it. It's less of like, here's some stuff, and also here's our event. It's more of like, here's what you need to know, here's how you can kind of do that better, and if you want the next step so that you can make sure that you're really on track, you know, check out the virtual ticket or obviously come to the live event.
Since the webinar's on a Thursday, we're going to send out invites Monday and then Wednesday.
That kind of short runway also gives people not a lot of chance to, 1, forget, and then 2, to be like, well, I've got other things. You know, it's more of like, oh, here's this thing, it's in a couple days, I can schedule it and go.
We also got the lists figured out for the 4 different sessions that we'll send out to. So the first one we're going to send out to past customers. The people invited to the second one are going to be people who have joined our Social Media Examiner email list since last May. And then the third week, we've got people who've been on the Social Media Examiner list prior to that. And then week 4, we just re-invite everybody who didn't attend.
No, I think that's great.
Okay.
That's a good strategy. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Crazy idea time. Okay. So I've been thinking about the webinar, and what I'm proposing we do is a 1-day sale, the day of the webinar. If you buy today, you get it for $497. Which is $200 savings off the retail price. The only way that they'll get the benefit is if they purchase it that day.
I'm glad we're going to have an incentive for them. That's awesome.
No, I think it's a good idea.
If we don't get that big burst we're hoping for, then we're just not going to do it.
It's a win! We have been asking if we can provide an incentive for the webinar viewers forever, and we get to do it.
One of the things that is always a challenge with the webinar is like writing the email, inviting people to the webinar. And what we're doing here is we're opening with a problem that we know our audience is facing so that they'll want to keep reading. And then we say, if you're seeking wisdom on how to expand your marketing beyond Facebook, you're not alone, parentheses, I have a solution. Then I go on to say, here's a couple of common questions that I hear. So to address these questions, we decided to hold that free webinar. As people go through the webinar, they're going to find great value, but that they could find even greater value if they purchase a virtual ticket to Social Media Marketing World. Yeah, today's not working out as good as I would have liked. More on that in a minute.
All right, Mikey, ready to rock and roll.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. So here's the backstory. I sent an email this morning, and it was an impulse decision.
Well, I came in this morning and there was an email from Mike. It said, did a big test today.
Decided to promote the latest episode of The Journey.
Okay, the subject line is, why we're abandoning Pinterest.
I'm kind of pissed at myself, and I'm kind of pissed at some people here. Sent the email, started getting a lot of negative comments from people saying, you made me sit through 3 minutes of content before I could actually get to the core of the video. You're a bait and switcher. I've been a fan of yours forever, and now I don't think I can trust you anymore. Because I sent a freaking email? Yes, because I sent an email that says why we abandoned Pinterest. And it's really my fault. I didn't think about the fact that the people that are actually reading the newsletter haven't been watching the other episodes. They have no context of the storyline. When you decide to email blast your entire list, include an extra sentence that says, by the way, there's some other things in this video other than just Pinterest marketing. So fast forward to the 3-minute mark if you just care about that. If I would have added that one little extra piece of context, it would have been a totally different story. They don't care about the other stuff that was the ongoing story about how we're working to get customer testimonials. And I understand it. You know, we took a risk by showing a testimonial that could be perceived as an ad, and all that stuff could be seen as, oh, they programmed it that way, those evil, conniving marketers. No, that's not. It's just happened to be the way the show worked out. So in hindsight, if the whole episode was about Pinterest, nobody would have complained. If we had moved some of the episode till after the Pinterest story, no one would have complained. So from this point forward, we're going to try our best to make these video headlines 100% be about the topic, or we'll lead with that topic. With that, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my lunch to the best of my ability. Thank you for listening to my rant. Please join me on The Journey. Subscribe now and be sure to hit the bell so you don't miss any of our future episodes.